Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Yay, 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 bim. Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Yay, 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 bim. Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Yay, 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 bim. Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bim,
Thank you so much, Spire family. Now we're gonna move on in our service into the candle blessing. So I'm gonna try to share my screen again, and this time not share what I don't mean to share. One second. Okay, there we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat. And next we will have Elon Keller, I believe is supposed to do the Kiddush. Elon, are you here? Would any of the other kids want to try leading the Kiddush? No pressure, just want to give you the opportunity. Just holler at me. Okay, so if we don't have another student, Sabars, do you want to lead this or I can lead this? You guys got it? Okay, so I will spotlight you. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maaseh bereshit Ki hu yom tehillah lemikrae kodesh zeher litziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'harta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodecha v'ahava u'ratzon Inhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Thank you. So wonderful. Okay, so next, the Spar family is going to lead us in Hine Matov, how great it is for all of us to be together today.
Hine Matov Manayim Shebedarim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shebedarim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Ya la la ya la 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 la. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Ya la la ya la 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 la. Hine Matov Manayim Shebedarim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shebedarim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Ya la la ya la 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 la. Hine Matov, Hine Matov, Ya la la ya la 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 la. Hine Matov Manayim Shebedarim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Manayim Shebedarim Gam Yachad.
Yashir Koach. We're going to move on into the Chatzi Kaddish, which is Ezra. Are the crowns here? Maybe not. Okay. Any one of the kids want to try leading this? I can do it, but that's no fun. Okay, Jacob Davidson, thank you. Let me spotlight you real quick.
My camera doesn't work though.
Oh, never mind then. Just take it away.
Ikra vikra shmeraba beama divra hirte beam limahte behayom of yomecha uvhayed hobe Israel baga uvisman kariv himru amen yeshme rabba mavara lo meomaya Yipara Vishaba Viet Roman Viet Nasa Viet Hadar Viet Hala Viet Halal Shmedi Kusha Rehu Leilam Mikobi Hata Vashir Hata Tushvehata Namata Damin Ranbeoma Email Amen.
Thank you so much, Jacob. The Chatzi Kaddish is what divides one part of the service from another. And now we're going to turn it back to the Sabar family as we move into the next part of our service. And we begin with the Baruch Hu.
La 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear and Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalalai, lai, lai. 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 Yalalai, lai, lai.
So next, we move into Ma'ariv Aravim, and tonight that's supposed to be chanted by Eli Spar. Sorry, let me spotlight the Spar family again. Is Eli there? No. Okay. Does one of the other students want to sub in for Eli? Oh, I see a raised hand from, I'm guessing that this is not Johanna, that this is Zoe.
Yeah.
Great, so I'll spotlight you. Oh, you have to have your video on for me to spotlight you. Okay, thank you. Spotlight, perfect. Thank you so much, Zoe.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteh she'arim uvi'una meshana itim umahalif et hazmanim umsader et hakukavim v'mishmorotehen barakia kirtzono. Berei yom v'layla golel or mipnei hoshe v'hoshe mipnei or uma avir yom umevi layla uma avdil bein yom uvein layla Adonai Sevaot Shemo. El Hai v'kayam tamidim lo chalenu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim.
Wow, Yasher Koach, Zoe, excellent job, especially having just volunteered for that. Okay, so next we're going to do Ahavat Olam. Which it seems I did not assign. My apologies. I can just leave this one. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torahu mitzvot chukim umishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha Uvemitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem neke yomam v'layla v'avtcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Amen. And next, we're going to do the Shema with the Spar family. Thank you.
La 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 la
Thank you, Sabars. We're going to do the Ve'ahavta next, and I have Hannah down. Is Hannah here?
Yes.
Okay, great. Does your video work, or are you just gonna be doing just sound? Just sound. Okay, cool. All right, here we go.
Ve'ahavta Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם ליהו על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיהם אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
Yasher Koach, excellent job, Hannah. Now, as we move on in our service, we will be singing the Mi Chamocha together with the Sabar family as we recreate the moment where we reached freedom out of Egypt.
La 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 la
Thank you so much. And now we reach one of our central prayers, the tefillah. And I'm going to ask Eva to do this for us. Let me spotlight you. Great. All right, Eva, you ready? Okay, great. Go ahead.
Adonai Sefatai, Sefatai Tiftach, Uviyagi, Tehilatecha. Adonai Sefatai, Sefatai Tiftach, Uviyagi, Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor B'Hadonai, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei HaKol, V'Zocher Chesed Avot V'Imot, U'Mevii Geulah Livnei B'neihem L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava. Melech Ozer Mashiach Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Be'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechei Hakol Atah B'Hoshia Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed Mechei Hakol B'Rachamim Rabim Samech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Matir Asirim U'Mekayem Emrat Holy Sheneva, Micha Mocha Gal Gibur, Umidom Melach, Melach Mitum Bachir, Matziach Yeshua, Beneman Salah Chayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, B'chayei Hakol.
Yasher Koach. And now we're going to move to Olivia to do the Kedushat Hashem.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalalu haselah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Amen. And now we'll take a few moments to say a silent prayer for ourselves, for our loved ones, for connection to something greater. Now that we've had a moment to silently reflect, we will move on into the Hoda'ah, which is our prayer of thanksgiving. First, we will start with Jacob Davidson.
Modim anachnu la. Shaltahu anai Eloheinu v'Eloheim avotenu v'imotenu le'olam va'ed. Sor hayenu magen yishenu atahu l'dor v'dor. Nogain la unsaper tehilateha. All hayenu hamsarim בידיך, ועל נשמתנו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך ואהובותיך שבכל עת. אמת ובוקר יצהרה. הטוב כל לא הלו רחמך והמרהם כי לא תמו חסדיך מעולם kiolenu לך.
Great job. Okay. 1 second. Sorry, I went too far. So let's have Zoe do the first half of this page. Like go to Yodu Chasela, and then Matthew, can you do the end?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
Okay. Va'al kulam yitbara v'yitramam shim ha-malkenu tamid la'olam va'ed. V'chol ha'hayim yodu ha'sela.
Okay, and now Matthew.
V'yehalenu et shimcha be'emet ha'el yeshuatenu ve'ezratenu selam. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodo.
Thank you so much. Yasher Koach, everybody. Okay, so next we'll join the Sabar family in Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom, Birumah. Oseh Shalom, Birumah. Uyaseh, Uyaseh, Uyaseh Shalom. Uyaseh, Uyaseh, Uyaseh Shalom. Uyaseh, Uyaseh, Uyaseh Shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oseh Shalom, Birumah. Oseh Shalom, Birumah. Uyaseh, Uyaseh, Uyaseh Shalom. Uyaseh, Uyaseh, Uyaseh Shalom. Uyaseh, Uyaseh, Uyaseh Shalom. Alleluia.
Thank you so much for that rendition of Osa Shalom. It's one of my favorites. Next, we will think of those who are in need of healing. I'm going to stop showing my screen for a minute. There we go. Now I can see everybody. And before we say the Misha Berach, we're going to share some names of those in our community who are in need of healing. So feel free to unmute or drop some names in the chat, and we will make sure to recite them before we say the Misha Berach. Ruth and Sandra Landis, Ron Jones, Patty Podnar, Chris Hanlon, Jess Landis, Diana Anderson, Amy Morton,
Lad Glausman,
Elena Archibek Ferris,
Jeff Simons. Get hold of him. I'm cold.
Rachel Miller Williams, Rod Jones, Kirsten Walsh, Jim Kirshner, Jane Gailey and Carol Nagengast, Consuelo Carranza, Neil Jasper, family of Willie Davis, family of Cantor, Laura Reisman Patterson, Kim Ko, Raul Camacho. Eric and Molly Wu,
Usually they mention Jeff Simons. I didn't hear his name tonight.
Who?
Jeff Simons.
Simon.
Did you hear? I didn't hear it.
okay, and I'm gonna read from the list that I have here. Jonathan Davidson, Ben Henderson,
Yeah.
Kara Gilman, Rabbi Steve Robbins, Gloria Mangas, Steve Lux, Leslie Ferris, Pamela Mangas, Johnny Sikat, Sid Love, Larry Miller, Jeff Simons, Rabbi Annette Kosh Harav, Chana Rachel Bat Rosa Vivolf, Stephen
Doing. Have you spoken to Mark?
Stephen Strauss,
Where do you know how he's doing?
Kelly Work, Kenny Hayes, Carol Chase Balash, Marilyn Whitmer, Abby Sandaha, Deanna Cohen, Regina Richards, and Rosalind Jones. And I'm going to check the chat one more time. And as long as there's no other names we would like to add, I am going to begin sharing my screen again, so the Savars can lead us in Elna Rafadna La, Heal Us Now.
Dear God of our ancestors,
Help us renew our faith.
Help us renew our faith.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Grant us a perfect healing.
Bring peace to all our days.
Bring peace to all our days.
Restore strength of body.
Restore strength of body.
Help clarify our minds.
Help purify our minds.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Refresh our tired spirits.
Rejuvenate our lives.
Rejuvenate our life.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Thank you for all these blessings.
Throughout our days and nights.
Throughout our days and nights.
We celebrate the journey.
We celebrate the journey.
This precious gift of life.
This precious gift of life. And love upon our love. Upon our love. And love upon our love. Upon our love. And love upon our love. Upon our love.
And now I'm going to be sharing a video from Bim Bom. Who didn't see that one coming? And we're going to learn a little bit about Bereshit before I open it up for a little bit of discussion of Bereshit. And then we'll move on to celebrating those in our community who have celebrations.
The very first parsha of the Torah is Bereshit, usually translated as in the beginning. It's our creation story. There are many verses about Eden, Adam, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the creation of woman. The last line of chapter 2, right before the well-known big sin, reads, "The two of them were naked, the man and his wife, yet they felt no shame." Now, anyone familiar with how the story goes knows that shame is going to play a starring role. So what is shame? A quick Google search yields a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. Let's keep this in mind as we look at what happens next. The serpent tells Eve that eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil will open her eyes. She sees that the tree was good for eating and a delight to the eyes. Adam and Eve eat the forbidden fruit. Their eyes are opened and they see that they are naked. Sew together some fig leaves and cover up. What changed? Now they have shame of their nakedness. What is the language telling us about shame? That it is all about appearances. When their eyes were opened, they experienced shame. Contrast this with what happens immediately after. God shows up, but God's not looking for Adam and Eve, rather calling to them. They don't see God, but they hear God. They heard the sound of God moving about in the garden at a breezy time of day, and the man and his wife hid from God among the trees of the garden. God called out to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" Adam replied, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." You can't hide from a voice. Hiding means trying not to be seen. It's an intuitive response to feeling shame. God wanted more from us, to hear and listen in spite of what we see. No wonder the most famous prayer in Judaism is Shema Yisrael, listen Israel. Bereshit is trying to teach us that we aren't supposed to follow our eyes, concerning ourselves with appearances. We are supposed to follow our ears, to become active listeners, and to hear and heed our conscience and our God.
Okay, so
The very first parsha of the Torah.
Okay, so I love this particular Bim Bam video, and obviously it's always great returning to the beginning of the Torah, to Bereshit. And I want us all to think about shame. Shame can be a hard emotion to think about, but the Torah starts with, in some ways, a conundrum, a moral dilemma around shame. And how do we deal with shame, and what does it mean? So I think it's interesting to think about moments in which we've felt shame and what our reactions are, and how similar our reactions may be to Adam and Eve. How different? What did it feel like? How did we notice we were ashamed? I think that emotion plays a huge role in the Torah, and that this is a social emotional teaching on reflecting on shame and knowing when we're feeling it and why. Mark Feldstein, you have your hand raised.
I think that it's not only a sense of shame, but if you turn the coin over, too much fear of shame can make us be less than who we are. So if someone has anxiety or has a phobia, for lack of a better phrase, you have to ride the balance between humility and not letting too much, not thinking like you're always in someone's face. Sometimes someone needs you there to listen, and it's not being in someone's face. You're not being rude. You're not being domineering. So as is often the case, it's about balance.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's 100% about balance. And I love how you picked out that idea of the connection of fear and shame, because I think that plays a huge role in this moment in the Torah. And it's our fear of being ashamed that makes us hide. And I think this Torah portion, God is telling us not to hide. I saw Christine, you had your hand up.
I think it's a matter of, sort of what we're ashamed of and what we're not. And because that can be just awful, because there's so many rules that you're supposed to be ashamed of, which it's like really not on. It inhibits people's lives. To me, the notion of shame, I don't use the word, but to me, it's the moment of reflection when you know you've messed up and you need to figure out what you can do to redress it, because it's really awful. And, you shouldn't be doing that to other people. That to me is, instead of saying shame, because it's so loaded with all this theology in this country, about shame, and all the shameless politicians, right? So that I avoid the term. But to me, that recognition that you really shouldn't have done that. And that's like not on in keeping relationships the way they're, that's helpful for everybody.
Yeah, I really love that you brought up how, oh gosh, I'm losing it, but there was a piece of that was new that I really liked, about how you shouldn't shame other people. Because in rabbinic teachings, it's like a huge no-no to shame other people, that's like a really bad thing. So thinking about the flip side, making other people feel ashamed. I saw Rick had his hand up, and then Wendy.
Yeah, I differentiate between shame and guilt, and where guilt is feeling bad about what you did, shame is feeling bad about who you are. Guilt encourages one to make reparation, to fix it, but shame encourages you to hide, because if it's just you, there's nothing to fix. There's just shame.
Yeah, I love that, because, that's so true about, a lot of times we walk through life and we feel ashamed because instead of saying, I did this thing wrong, and this is how I fix it, we say, I did this thing wrong, and so I'm now a bad person. And that's when shame comes in. And so I think it's important to think about the way we differentiate that and how guilt can play a positive role in learning versus shame, which doesn't actually often result in learning. So thank you so much, Wendy.
One thing I wanted to mention is how social media has changed what people are ashamed of. It used to be you would hide the fact that you're intolerant or bigoted or racist, and now people trumpet that across social media, and they're proud of things that people used to be ashamed of. Bit strange how that's kind of worked out, that people find safe space for themselves to express their bigotry, and so they don't have any shame in that anymore, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, so there are new rules when it comes to shame and the way society functions around shame in the age of social media. And I think that's important to note. Joe? Oh, you're muted, sorry.
Oh, I was like, can you see me? I guess I find my feelings around shame to be like, I think that the term is pretty broad. And I think someone earlier, I forget who at this point, oh, Christine, was saying that it's like more along the lines of like guilt. But I think I'm more in line with Rick on this because, recently on my job, just I think the sort of microaggressions that people live with, like as Black people, or, even just being a white person who's Jewish, like there can be a sense of like, maybe not always as strong as shame, but certainly taboo around your own identity. And like on my job, it's just so happens that this week, a very nice colleague who is very well-meaning, like she told me that her husband had said, "Who's that Black girl?" Like on my job. And I guess like she thought that my reaction was going to be one of shame, like that I would feel bad about being who I am. But instead I was just like, oh, I'm so glad you said that, because no one in my office likes to call me Black, because people are so ashamed. Like it's not always an internal thing. It can also be like a societal thing where people are like ashamed to say the word Black, like it's a bad word. And that can be internalized where you're like, oh, I should feel bad for who I am because other people are too afraid to like say it, or they think it's, taboo or it's bad. I don't know if I'm making sense with this.
You're totally making sense. Thank you so much. You've sort of brought it full circle to where I wanted to bring it to. So thank you so much. So the antidote to shame is vulnerability. And what Joe just did was show us the antidote to shame, which is to be vulnerable. And that's hard because shame is hard and vulnerability is so hard. And if any of you are familiar with Brene Brown, she talks a lot about shame and vulnerability, and she's like a shame expert. But yeah, one of the ways to, I don't want to say combat shame, because I don't think it's a battle, but one of the ways to defer shame is to be vulnerable. So thank you so much, Joe, for your vulnerability tonight. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I will also say I listened to an excellent podcast today about Bereshit from Ikar by Rabbi David Kadosh, and he talks about shame and sexuality in a very interesting way. So I highly recommend it. But that's just an aside for everyone here. Let's move on into our celebrations. Thank you everyone for that excellent discussion and learning together. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I guess I don't need to share my screen first. So who has a birthday this month? Oh, can we get a link to the podcast? Ooh, good question. I will try to find that. Jacob Davidson has a birthday today. What is this month? Jacob, whose birthday? Is it your birthday?
Yes,
Excellent. How old are you turning?
I'm turning 12 on October 21st.
Wow. Are you excited about it? Do you feel older already?
A little.
A little, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta have an escape room for my birthday party.
Oh, there you go. So you're already feeling older. So what does it feel like to feel older?
Feels good to be the oldest in my school also. One of the oldest.
Good. Cool. All right. Oh, did I miss? I see in the chat that I maybe have missed Mrs. Landis with her hand up. Yes.
How old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 104.
Wow.
Yeah. Ask her what it feels like to be old. Older, it's hardly even noticed between 103 and 104.
Yeah, I love thinking about how it feels different each year, because it's just math. The percentage of your life that 1 year is gets smaller and smaller as you get older. Anyways, it's a great philosophical question, but happy birthday. Thank you for sharing. 104. I wish you the happiest of birthdays and all the joy. Eric Sabar has a birthday in October. Eric, how old are you gonna be?
I'm gonna be 36. You hear me?
I can kind of hear you. You're gonna be what, 6?
I'm gonna be 46.
46.
And I have to say also, my dad on his Zoom call, Mark's car, it was his birthday first, but we have the same birthday. And let's see, I don't know if he wants to say how old he's gonna be. He's a little bit older than me. And Kiana also has a birthday in October.
Oh,
Dad,
wow.
you want to say how old you're gonna be, Dad?
Yeah, I'm going to be 77.
The bar celebration.
Yeah, a lot of October birthdays around here.
Our family is all the August birthdays. Anyone else have a birthday? I saw Rick raised his hand.
Yeah, my wife is going to have a birthday on the 23rd, and let's just say she's the younger of the people in the house. She's the youngest.
Excellent. Mark, how about you? I thought I saw your hand up. Maybe not.
I had it this week, but it was more of a September birthday than an October birthday.
Okay. Anyone else with a birthday or celebration that you want to share? Okay, well, on Monday, my puppy will be 6 months old. So it is his half-year birthday, which I'm really excited about. And now we'll sing a little Yom Haledet Sameach.
Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach.
Thank you. Okay, so now that we've wished everyone happy birthday, we have celebrated our celebrations. We're gonna move on into the Aleinu. Let me share my screen. There we go. All right. Aleinu leshabech ladon hakol latekedu la liotze breshit shelo asanu kegoye haratzot velo samanu kimishpechot adama shelo samchelkenu kahem vegoralenu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu note shamayim v'yosed haaretz u'moshav yikara b'shamayim ima'al u'shninatu zo b'gov meromim hu Eloheinu enod emit malkeinu efes ulato Kakatuv betorato, viatata hayom behashavota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, bashamayim ima'al, ve'al haaretz mitachat, ein od, V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. And next, our thoughts are going to turn to those who are no longer with us. And I ask that anybody who is in Shiv'ah, Shloshim, or the first year of mourning, please unmute or share names in the chat. Albert Archibald Jr., first year. Shloshim, Lola Fogel, recently passed Larry Silverman, first year, Janine Lester, Julia Poveda, Dina Eliason, Maggie Johnson, Stan Walkman, first year, Brenda Oppenheim, first year, Sanford Victor, first year, Darlene Miller, first year, Rabbi Bennett Herman, Milt Kowalski, Heshi Glick, first year. And then we have our yortzites for tonight. We offer our condolences to Carl Walton on the passing of his father-in-law, Willie Davis, to Mitch Levine on the passing of his cousin, Gail Grossman, Joan Pasternak on the passing of her cousin, Myrna Pavelak, Jamie Weiss on the passing of his brother, Lauren Rice, and to Avi Altman on the passing of his husband, Harel Altman. In Shloshim, our community is observing for Bob Perlstein, father of Adam Perlstein, Alan Pasternak, brother-in-law of Joan Pasternak. And our yortzites for the community tonight are Nathaniel Winston, Nissim Gershon, Florence R. Marcus, Harry Maxman, Kalman Horowitz, Fanny Marcus, Rasha Ramick, Robert White, Edith McHott, Jim Dyer, Arlene Cohen Tick, Isidore Oppenheim, Boyd Briskin, Henry Werner, Robert Kushner, Esther Lifshitz, Sadie Lipkin, Ralph Cannell, Florence Rackman, Phil Burns, Diane Lynn Alpert, Salmon Gavisser, Richard William Grinker, Ann Mursky, Leah Shevik, Joan Fisher, and Samuel Brandfield. If there are any other names we should say before the Kaddish, please let me know. Let's see. Heshiklik was the last one I said. Sanford Schneider, first year. First year, Ozell Walton, Alan Goldstein, and if there are no other names, I will share my screen so we can recite the Mourner's Kaddish Yatom. You may unmute if you would like to. Yitgadal, Yadash, Rabba, Nalma, Divara, Rote, Yamim, Uday, Chayachon, Yamechon, Chayechon, Israel, Amala, Uvidman, Paris, Yikru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba, Barach, Salam, Maya, Yitbarach, Yitzabach, Yitzhar, Yitzramam, Yitzhar, Yitzhar, Yitzhalal, Yitzhar, Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, v'shkata v'nechemata, Na'amiran Amen. Yehi Shalom Yishmael, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Yisrael, Amen. Oses Shalom B'Ramam, Uyat Shalom Aleinu V'al Yisrael, Uyat Amen. Amen. And now we're going to move into the closing of our service for a song called Shabbat Spider-Man. Definitely a favorite of mine. So let's go. I see Jude is excited and ready to go. Let's do this.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does Shabbat like no one can. Brings a bottle of tasty wine, swings through the door just on time. Hey there, Shabbat loving Spider-Man. Can he knead, can he braid? His hollar looks like it's Spider-Man. Can he sing, can he dance? Looks so good in his spider pants. Hey there, Shabbat loving Spider-Man. Says the prayers so fine, they come straight from the heart. It's a magical time, can't so only one. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does Shabbat no can. Sees the light in all of us and never forgets to do Havdalah. Hey there, Shabbat loving Spider-Man, he's a bench with a pair of candles. Shabbat loving Spider-Man.
Yasher Koach, thank you so much, Sabar family, for all the wonderful music tonight. And thank you so much, everyone, again, for your participation tonight and your wonderful thoughts that you shared with us. I agree, Christine. That was so cute. I love that song.
That was very cool.
Honey? Hi. What's it? Oh. Yes. Oops.
Thank you everyone for all the amazing feedback in the chat. I appreciate it. Also, Yasher Koach to all the kids who did prayers tonight. You guys did a wonderful job.
You did a wonderful job.
Thank you
sweetie.
so
I tell
much.
you.
Andrea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful. You really did a great job. Everyone did.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it
Yeah.
without the Sabars. They do the heavy lifting on the music, so I appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Thanks
shalom.
for the beautiful music.
Shalom. Thank
Shabbat
you,
shalom.
Andrea.
Beautiful music.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
You.
Thank you, Andrea.
Of course, thank you.
You have a motzi?
Motzi! Oh no. Oh man. Okay. Well, we missed that. But
It's
I
not
can
too late. Come on,
It's
let's do
not
it
too
right
late.
now.
I can do a motzi for you all. Okay. Ha motzi lecher min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. There we go. We did
Bye,
it.
everybody. Shabbat shalom.